Hey guys, this is Mr. Fresh. Today is Monday, May 11th. Yeah, we're almost to the middle of May already. Um, Today is the first day this week for e-learning, so I'm going to have some things for you guys to do today. So just make sure to take a look at it, get it done. Again, guys, those past assignments are key. Make sure you're taking a look at those again to get those done as well. All right, so Monday, May 11th, some of our national days today. It's Eat What You Want Day. Eat What You Want Day. So, whatever you want to eat, today's the day to do it. Foam Rolling Day. Twilight Zone Day. All right, so I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Twilight Zone, but today's the day to commemorate that. And then Foam Rolling Day. If you've ever heard of that, that's kind of like something that a lot of athletes will do. A foam roller. Let me show. I have one here in my room. Kinda, it's not quite the same, but it's like a roll. So like you roll out your muscles. You can, whatever's tight. But they also come in just like a really big foam rolling circle too. All right, and then our quote for today, let me flip to it. All right. It's not the load that breaks you down. It's the way you carry it. And that's by C.S. Lewis. It's not the load that breaks you down. It's the way you carry it. So basically they're saying that whatever that thing is that you're trying to carry, that's not the thing that's going to break you down. The thing that's going to break you down is how you're choosing to carry it, how you're trying to accomplish the goal. If you're doing it very foolishly, then that's going to be heavy. But if you do it the right way, carrying that load might not be as hard as someone else might think. Alrighty, so the book that I'm going to be reading today, hopefully you guys will like it. This is called How Not to Run for Class President. How Not to Run for Class President. This is by Kathy Hapka and Ellen Teitelbaum, and it's illustrated by Debbie Palin. All right. Chapter 1. Little Brothers and Other Bad Ideas. Hi, my name is Will. One Sunday, I was eating popcorn and reading comic books. Suddenly, my younger brother Steve poked me. I want you to walk Buster with me, he said. It's more fun when we do it together. Good idea, Dad overheard. Go with him, Will. But, I began. Just go, Mom said. You could use some fresh air, Will. Steve ran outside. I shuffled out the door, holding Buster's leash. So he was shuffling out the door. So do you think he really wants to go outside and go for a walk? Yeah, I don't think so either. Look at this, Will, Steve cried. Your class is electing a president. So, all the grades do that, I told him. Not kindergarten, Steve said. I wish we were having an election too. Are you going to run for president? It would be fun to be in charge. It's not about being in charge, I said. It's about doing a lot of extra work. On Monday morning, Chelsea rushed into homeroom. Mr. Duffy, may I present my new campaign idea? She asked. Go ahead, Chelsea, Mr. Duffy said. Chelsea smiled at the whole class. Everyone loves a good book, right? We all cheered. Cool. This is my plan, Chelsea said. Reading to kindergartners. We'll be like big sisters and brothers. And you'll only have to give up a little bit of free reading time each week to do it. Everyone was still cheering, except me. Why do you think Will isn't cheering about this idea of visiting the kindergartners and reading with them? Who does he know who's a kindergartner? Kindergartners? Steve was in kindergarten. Great idea, Chelsea, my friend Jack called out. Yes, it is an excellent idea, Mr. Duffy said. Does anyone else want to present any campaign ideas? Remember, the election is this Friday. Nobody else is running, Mr. Duffy, a boy named Luke said. Wait a minute, I said. Is everyone really okay hanging out with kindergartners? What do you mean, Will? Jack asked. I live with a kindergartner, I said. Trust me, they're not that much fun. Everyone just stared at me. Don't be mean, Will, Chelsea said. Your little brother is great. Yeah, great at being annoying, I said. Lesson number 1. When it comes to campaign promises, you're never going to please everyone. So that's his first lesson, because he doesn't like his brother all that much as a kindergartner. But does other kids in his class feel the same way? Or do they like the idea of doing that, to read with kindergartners? Yeah, most of them like it. Chapter 2, Me and My Big Mouth. At soccer practice that afternoon, Steve and his friends were playing right next to our game. Chelsea passed me the ball, and I was just about to score. But suddenly, "Look out!" Jack yelled. "Stray ball!" It was Steve's, of course. "Sorry, Will," Steve called. "That's okay, Steve," Chelsea said with a laugh. "No, it's not," I muttered. "Go back to your own game, Steve." "Don't be a meanie, Will," Chelsea said. "That's easy for you to say," I told her. "You don't have a little brother. You don't know what they're really like." "Lighten up, Will," Jack said. But I wasn't finished. "And now you want me to spend even more time with Steve?" I reminded Chelsea. "Everyone else liked my idea," she said. "Everyone else is crazy," I exclaimed. "Give it a chance, Will," Chelsea said. "I'm not going to give it a chance," I yelled. "I'm not going to let you do it, even if I have to run for class president myself." Does your mouth ever move faster than your brain? Mine just had. "Hey, Dad!" Steve yelled. "Did you hear that? Will's running for president." Uh-oh. My dad hurried over, beaming. "That's great, son," he said. "I was class president once myself." My heart sank. How was I going to get out of this? "I'll be your campaign manager, Will," Steve said. "This will be epic." Lesson number 2. When it comes to big decisions, think before you speak. Have any of you guys ever had that happen before, where you say something before you really think about it and it kind of gets you into trouble? Yeah, that's kind of what Will's going through right now, is he kind of said some things before he really thought about it, and now he might have to deal with some consequences. Chapter 3. The campaign begins. That night, not even my favorite comic book made me feel better. "Hey, Will," Steve said. "Let's talk strategy. First, we need to get your name out there." "Go away, Steve," I said. "Okay, I'll brainstorm and get back to you." Steve skipped off to his room. The next morning I was hungry for pancakes. "Where's Grandma?" I asked. "I was hoping she'd make me breakfast." "She's driving Steve to school," Mom said. "He wanted to get there early today." Uh-oh. This couldn't be good. Why do you think his brother wanted to go to the school early? We'll see. I was right. It wasn't good. In fact, it was worse than I could have imagined. Look at what his brother did. What did he put up on the walls? Yeah, he made some posters. So it says, "Will for Prez. He's the best." "My dog says, vote for Will. Will is awesome. No more baked beans." I'll show you those again. You can see how they were made by a little kindergartner. How could I ever show my face in school again? "Hey, Will," Jack yelled. "Your posters are awesome." "Yeah," said a fifth grader I barely knew. "Way to go, Will." Luke pointed at a poster. "Even Chelsea couldn't get rid of baked beans," he cried. "You're the best, Will." I couldn't believe it. Maybe running for president wasn't so bad after all. Lesson number 3, any publicity is good publicity. Have you ever heard that word publicity before? Publicity is basically a word that means that something is in the public eye, that people in the community see what you're doing or something that you're doing or showing something about you. And so he's saying any publicity is good publicity. So even though he thought these posters weren't going to be a good idea, because a lot of the kids liked them, they thought they were interesting looking, they were goofy, that they actually liked them. So it actually might be good for him. Chapter 4, Promises, Promises. Chelsea came over frowning. "Get serious, Will," she said. "You're promising stuff you can't deliver." I wasn't sure what to say. Luckily, Steve dragged me away. "Hey, Will," he said, "come meet some very important supporters from my class. They promise they'll vote for you as many times as they can if you play soccer with them once a week." "Only third graders can vote in the third grade election," I told Steve. "Besides, nobody is allowed to vote more than once." The kindergartners looked disappointed. "Does this mean you're not going to play soccer with us?" Steve's friend Abigail asked. "Don't worry," Steve whispered. "We'll work something out." Okay, so Chelsea, the girl who was kind of running unopposed, now is kind of upset at Will because of what? What's he doing? He's making promises that he probably can't keep. Yeah, promises that he probably can't keep. That afternoon, Buster came to school with Mom. "Check out Will's dog," Jack exclaimed. "I wish Buster could come to school every day," Abigail said. "Great idea," Steve said. "Actually, that's Will's latest campaign promise. From now on, every Friday is Bring Your Pet to School Day. It starts this Friday." "Hooray!" everyone cheered. "Can I bring my pet tarantula?" Abigail asked. Chelsea smiled. "I wonder what Principal Smiley will say about this," she said. I gulped. "Hold on, everyone," I said, but nobody was listening. Uh-oh. So now Steve's starting to continue making some promises that might be kind of hard to keep. "How's the campaign going, boys?" Dad asked the next morning. Great, Steve said. I have a super new idea. What idea? I asked. Steve just smiled. That's on a need-to-know basis, he said. You worry too much, Will. You'll find out later. Steve was right. I worried all day. After school, I saw a crowd of kids gathered around Steve. Vote for Will! Steve yelled. Yeah, Abigail shrieked. He's the sweetest candidate. Then they started throwing something. Candy! Kids yelled. Awesome! Not awesome, Mr. Duffy said sternly. You aren't allowed to bribe people into voting for you, Will. Are you starting to feel bad for Will a little bit? Because is he really the one who was doing this with the candy? No, it's just his brother Steve. And is Steve, does he have good intentions? Yeah. It's just not exactly what he's wanting to have happen. The next day after school, I wanted to play soccer, but Steve had other plans. Hey everyone, Steve yelled. My brother, the future president, is going to make a speech. I am, I stammered. Everyone was staring at me. I had to say something. Tell them all the substitute teachers will be former Olympic champions from now on, Steve whispered. Can I still bring my cat in on Friday? A girl asked. No, I said, but if you like animals, maybe we could raise money for the animal shelter in town. Great idea, someone said. Yeah, Steve said, but listen to this. If Will is president, no more tests ever. Uh-oh. The crowd went wild. Chelsea walked over. The test thing won't work, you know, she said. But I like your animal shelter idea. You have some good ideas when you aren't trying to be popular, Will. I felt bad. I could tell that Chelsea really wanted to be president and help people. Will, 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 the crowd chanted. There was just one problem. Thanks to Steve, I was going to crush Chelsea in the election tomorrow. Lesson number 4. Don't promise more than you can deliver. Again, guys, I'm getting to this part of the story, and I feel bad for Will because, one, he didn't really want to run in the first place. He liked it at that one moment, but now he's not really liking it anymore. And if you think about it, the poor guy, like his little brother, is kind of taking this whole election out of hand. I mean, he's making these promises, these ridiculous claims that Will's not going to be able to do that as president. And so I feel bad for him because now he's probably going to get voted, but he knows that Chelsea should be the next president. She has the better ideas. Chapter 5, The Big Day. Friday was the big day. Here are your talking points for today's assembly, Steve said while Mom was driving us to school. You've done the hard part. Now let's win this thing. Mom peered out the windshield. Is that a goat? She said. Uh-oh. Apparently, some kids had believed Steve's pet day promise. Look at all the different animals in this picture. What's going on here? Principal Smiley exclaimed. She grabbed a kid with a parrot. Who told you to bring your animals to school? The kid pointed at me. Will did. I gulped. Chelsea stepped forward. This was just a misunderstanding, she said. We'll help you find a safe place for the pets to stay. Right, Will? That's nice of her. She's trying to help. The assembly started out okay. My speech went pretty well, even though I didn't use all of Steve's talking points. Then it was Chelsea's turn. As soon as she started to speak, Abigail screeched, "Will is great! Vote for Will!" Soon everyone joined in. "Settle down, people," said Principal Smiley. "It's not a fair election unless all the candidates get to speak." Chelsea's speech was really good. Everyone else seemed impressed too. Then I noticed Steve and Abigail sneaking toward the door. What were they up to? Soon we all found out. "Stampede!" Abigail shrieked as the pets raced into the auditorium. By the time the teachers rounded up all the animals, I was totally fed up with Steve. This wasn't how an election was supposed to be. "Okay, everyone," Principal Smiley said. "Each candidate will make a closing statement. Then we'll vote." My closing statement was last. "Don't forget to promise pizza and a movie every Thursday," Steve whispered. I ignored him. I knew what I wanted to say. "I hereby take back all my crazy campaign promises," I said loudly. "If you vote for me, the only thing I'll promise is to do what's right for the whole third grade." Steve looked horrified, but Chelsea looked impressed. "Do you mean that?" she asked. Before I could answer, Principal Smiley stood up. "Time to vote," she said, sounding tired. Lesson number 5. Doing the right thing is never the wrong idea. I like that. Doing the right thing is never the wrong idea. So he chose to say enough is enough. I'm going to say it how it is. Chapter 6. The results are in. While the other students voted, Chelsea and I had time to talk. "I'm sorry things got so out of hand," I told her. "And I meant what I said just now. I won't go through with any of Steve's crazy ideas." Chelsea smiled. "I'm glad you came to your senses," she said. "The third grade results are in," Mr. Duffy said. "It's a landslide." "Will! Will! Will!" Steve chanted. Mr. Duffy shook his head. "The winner is Chelsea." "What?" Abigail shrieked. "Congratulations, Chelsea," I said. And I really meant it. I was a little embarrassed, but mostly relieved. "Thanks, Will," Chelsea said. "You were a worthy opponent. I'd love to make you my vice president. Together, we could make this the best third grade ever." "Sure," I said. "That sounds cool." I couldn't believe everything had turned out so great. Then Chelsea turned to Steve. "Hey, Steve," she said. "I loved your energy on the campaign trail. How would you like to help me with the Reading Buddy program? You get to work closely with me and my new VP." "I'll do it!" Steve yelled. "Isn't this awesome, Will? Now we get to be together all day at school, too." Lesson number 6. Win or lose, you can't get rid of your little brother. The end. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that book. I know it was a little bit of a longer one compared to some of the books I've read, but I thought it's a pretty cool story. Kind of a funny concept about him. We read so much of the Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and with Peter and Fudge and that whole relationship, and so this book really reminded me of kind of how Fudge would get on the nerves of his older brother Peter, just like Steve got on the nerves of his older brother Will. So it's kind of a cool little connection there. So I'll have some questions for you to answer in regards to the story below. Just make sure, guys, to get those assignments done. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. I can help you the best I can. Just have a really good rest of your day. All right. See you guys.